Hey guys, welcome to our show vlog. This was our last show of the season and it was a Christmas themed horse show. There was a lot of show ring drama for Happy, but there were a lot of really big successes for him. So I'm really excited for you guys to watch, and I'll come back in and doing some voiceovers throughout the vlog so that I can kind of explain what was going on and how I was feeling. But yeah, let's get in. I got to the showgrounds probably around like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and of course, you know, it's winter time so the sun goes down early, as our human knows. And we rode for about half an hour, just did walk trot in the warm-up ring. There was only one other horse in there with us, so it was a really chill environment. The only thing that my husband managed to get on tape though, or on video, was when Happy actually did do a little spook and bolt because two kids came running out of the indoor arena that was behind him, which is where we were actually showing. So he did get that on video, but I promise you that the rest of our warm-up was actually really, really good, and I was really proud of Happy for how he was in the warm-up ring on Friday, which is a new thing for him to be good in the warm-up.
Happy. No, you don't get the whole treat container. So Happy had a tantrum while we were just trying to walk in the jumper warm-up. So now we're off and we're just walking. It doesn't help that it's freezing. He's really trying hard to be a good boy though. It's like 40 degrees, my toes are frozen. And Happy say it's cold and he don't understand what's going on.
Okay, so we warmed up a little bit early, but I wanted to get him out as many times as I could before we actually showed. So later on you'll see that it's actually dark outside when we show. But that aside, I got him in the warm-up ring. There were quite a few people in there. They were warming up for the walk trot class, and so it was a bunch of pretty like steady Eddie horses, which was great. Happy was pretty nervous, but was holding it together pretty well. I have to say, watching this video back, he was doing a really good job, and he looks like any other person looking at him probably would have been like, oh, he's just a normal horse at a horse show, but he definitely felt incredibly tense. I felt a little bit like he was a little bit against my hand and against my leg, in the sense that like he just really couldn't take a lot of input from me because he was just really taking in everything around him. But he kept it together pretty well. I didn't have any feeling that like he was going to leap in the air or explode or anything like that. I felt like we were keeping it together pretty well. I was also riding a little bit, I think defensively would be the term, where I don't feel like I was putting a lot of effort into keeping him mentally in his body, which I really should have been, like doing more bending, lateral work, kind of trying to keep him focused on me and what's happening as opposed to letting his brain spin out, but he still did a really, really good job. At a certain point in this warm-up, after we got a couple walk laps in, I decided to let him go stand in front of one of the fences because, like I said, there was nobody jumping a fence that high because it was all walk-trot kids. And I think that really helped him, just to stand there and like observe and be safe in front of a fence, and no one's going to come and canter up behind him or trot behind him or cut in front of him or whatever. But it was a very good warm-up, and I'm really actually quite shocked and really pleased at how well he did in the warm-up, considering how he felt mentally and how he had been in the warm-up ring at our past like 3 shows that we've gone to. So this was a huge success for us.
Buddy?
No riders here in our walk trot, open, pleasant. This is our first group. We're going to ask you guys to come to order at the walk. You're now being judged at the walk.
Crazy.
So our final warm-up went really well. He felt really on and focused, and we made it over a few jumps, which in the warm-up at Woodside was pretty difficult. He kept stopping at like every fence that I put him at in the warm-up. And so I was feeling really, really confident about our ride in the ring. And so we get to the show arena, and the show arena itself was honestly pretty spooky. It was a covered arena with bleachers on both sides, so you'll see the one set of bleachers that people were walking up and down, but then where my husband was filming was a very small like viewing platform, so there were people sitting there as well. Happy had not been inside the show arena because there was no way for me to get in there before the show started on Saturday morning, and they closed it after the show ended on Friday night. So he had not seen the inside of that arena. I'm not sure he's ever been alone in an arena that doesn't have like a see-through fence, so this had like white walls, and it just got really terrifying for him. I tried my hardest to tell him that when he would spin or rear that he could go forward and it was okay if he needed to bolt or gallop off or whatever he needed to do, but he just got to a point where I felt like mentally he wasn't going to be able to make it through to the first fence, and so we just stopped and I let him retire at that point. But that being said, it didn't actually feel, so he obviously didn't do his best performance, but I felt like I was not as upset or worried or scared of the outcome. In the past, I would have probably been in the past shows, pretty embarrassed and pretty angry that he didn't even make it to the first fence. But I felt like I had made a breakthrough in myself, that I was really actually quite calm and just trying to ride the horse that I had in the moment and trying to be really forgiving of what he was going through. So it may not have been a success in the sense that we actually made it to the first fence, but I feel like I'm getting over my old show nerves that I had from showing as a kid, and I think that's really huge for both of us. So I was actually quite happy with how I performed, even if Happy himself was just a little bit, or a lot of bit nervous. So after the first night, we went out and schooled in the warm-up again and calmed him down, got him moving really, really nicely. I have a little bit of footage of that, which is what you're watching. And then the next morning, I woke up really early and decided to ride in the arena before they started the show. I was able to get in, I think, at like 6:45, and we went right into the show arena. We got to business, trotted, cantered, was going to jump. They told me I wasn't allowed to jump, the ring steward. But he went in there and he was nervous, but he was able to settle, and he was able to, for the most part, do everything I asked of him. He even was in there when they started up a leaf blower, which was crazy. But then as you just watched, or as you're watching right now, he absolutely could not show. He went into the arena and had one step in and was like, I'm done. I can't do this. This is way too much. So that being said, I was incredibly disappointed on Sunday that after preparing him to go in there and having really, really good warm-up before we showed, he had just said no. A couple factors that I think played into this: it rained. So this Sunday of this show was when one of the largest storms in California this year has hit, and I think it dumped like several inches of rain, which is a lot for California. There was a lot of wind. It was very cold. I think I spent the entire day shivering. I was actually sore when I got home because I had been shivering so much throughout the entire day. We waited, so I rode him at 6:45 and then probably didn't ride him again until right before we showed, which was like dark, so like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. Everybody was kind of leaving. It was a very weird vibe and atmosphere. And then I think he just was like done, and he was like, I don't want to go back in there. I don't want to go by myself. There's just no point. So we did end up being allowed to hand walk him in and around some of the like Christmas trees that were in there, in the show arena, I mean. And that was really good because he went in there and he actually didn't seem too nervous when I was hand walking him. So I was like, all right, well, that's good. And so I think going forward, our plan is to try to get him to as many off-property places as we can and get him schooling on his own. And while we'll go with other people within our barn that are going to go school at different arena hires, I think we'll try to separate from everybody and go ride by ourselves and work through some of this panic. I also am looking forward to just going to schooling shows and possibly not showing, but getting there, warming up, doing everything you would do as if you were going to show, and then taking him down to the warm-up ring outside the show ring, warming up in there, and then just standing outside the show arena and letting him watch everything and letting him kind of get an idea of what it's like. And then I guess ultimately for this year, depending on how all of this goes, we will try to, but this year being 2022, get him into some flat classes. I think starting with walk trot, then probably going into walk trot canter. See how that goes with him in the show ring with a bunch of different horses. Could be good, could be bad. I'm not really sure. That's just the theory right now, is it might actually be better for him to be out there with horses as opposed to being alone. And then ultimately, hopefully by the end of next year, doing cross rails again. But I really don't want to push him because I feel a little bit like I pushed him too hard this year. And I think I should have taken things a little slower, but I had no idea what slow meant to happy. So I thought cross rails would be easier, and he's always kind of been nervous in a group of horses that he doesn't know, so I thought a flat class seems like a horrible idea. But he made it very clear to me at this show that a flat class might actually be okay, because he was actually really good in the warm-up with a bunch of random horses he didn't know. Jingle bells on their bodies and elf ears and Santa hats he was totally fine with. He just didn't want to be alone in the show ring. So I think the flat classes will be what we do going forward. We'll be going to a lot of shows to have a lot of experiences, hopefully good ones, of getting over some panic, getting over some fear, realizing it's not a big deal, it's not super scary. And then we'll reevaluate showing. I'm not really sure. I'm sure if he gets over this and he's fine and we show, I'll show him. But I feel like if I get to a point where it feels like we're kind of getting through it, he's understanding what's happening, but he's still getting nervous, I'm not sure if it's worth it for Happy to do showing, just because there's about a million other things that I do with him that I thoroughly enjoy. And I showed from like the age of 6 to, let's see, the last show I did with my Appaloosa was when I was 20. So I showed for 14 years, and I've had enough of it. So if Happy doesn't want to be a show horse, I would like to work him through this fear of being alone, because it's not just at horse shows that he has this, it's also at home or any other new location. But if he doesn't want to show, totally fine. So I really appreciate you guys watching this year and watching our show journey, and I'm so happy to have a community that I can like post these videos to, and people can watch it and give feedback and support. And yeah, I guess that's the end of our show season, and that's the end of this vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and comment if you feel desire to comment. So thank you guys so much for watching.